Welcome to Self-Crafted Life, the space where you stop doubting, start trusting, and finally live as the real you. 10 habits at 5 a.m. that changed my life. 5 a.m., when the world is still asleep. I've discovered it's the golden hour of the day. Over the past few years, waking up early hasn't just helped me get more done. It's completely transformed the way I see myself, my work, and my life. In that quiet window of time, my mind is clear, my energy is high, and my focus is sharper than ever. I wasn't always an early riser. In fact, I used to stay up late, hit the snooze button multiple times, and start my mornings in a rush, constantly behind schedule. But when I challenged myself to wake up at 5 a.m. and stayed consistent, everything changed. I became more disciplined, more creative, and more fulfilled. The early morning became my secret weapon for personal growth and success. In this video, I'm going to share 10 habits I practice every single morning at 5 a.m. These aren't magical hacks that promise overnight success. They're simple, powerful actions that build momentum over time. When repeated daily, they shape not only how you start your day, but also how you live your life. You don't have to implement all 10 at once. Start with 1 or 2, stick to them for a few weeks, and then add more as they become second nature. Each habit I'll share comes with the why behind it, how I do it, and the real-life benefits I've experienced. If you commit to even a handful of these habits, you might just find yourself becoming more focused, more productive, and ultimately, more in control of your life, just like I did. 1. Drink water immediately upon waking. When you sleep, your body loses water through breathing and sweating. That's why I keep a bottle of water right by my bed. The moment my alarm goes off at 5 a.m., I drink about 300 to 500 milliliters of water before doing anything else. This simple act rehydrates my body, jumpstarts my digestion, and flushes out toxins that have built up overnight. What surprised me most was how much more awake I felt just from drinking water. Many people rush for coffee first thing in the morning, but I found that my body responds better when I hydrate before adding caffeine. It's like giving your engine the oil it needs before hitting the gas. Another benefit is that drinking water in the morning curbs unnecessary hunger. Often, we mistake thirst for hunger, so rehydrating helps keep my appetite steady and stops me from grabbing a sugary breakfast out of habit. To make it easier, I prepare the night before. I fill a glass or bottle and place it within arm's reach of my bed. That way, there's no excuse. It's the first thing I see. Over time, this habit has become automatic. Even on days I wake up tired, that first sip of water signals to my body, it's time to start the day right. It may sound small, but small things repeated consistently can create big change. This was my first step toward becoming a disciplined early riser. 2. Light exercise or stretching at 5 a.m. The temptation to stay cozy under the blanket is real. That's why I've learned to get my body moving within minutes of waking up. I don't go straight into an intense workout. Instead, I start with light exercise or stretching for about 10 to 15 minutes. My go-to routine includes dynamic stretches, a few yoga poses, and some bodyweight movements like push-ups, squats, or planks. These movements increase blood flow, loosen stiff muscles, and send a clear signal to my brain: we're awake, and we're ready to work. The beauty of light exercise in the morning is that it doesn't exhaust you, it energizes you. I've noticed that when I skip this step, I'm slower to focus and my posture suffers throughout the day. But when I do it, I feel more alert, my mood improves, and my mind feels sharper. You don't need a gym or fancy equipment for this. A yoga mat, a little space, and a short playlist of upbeat music are all you need to get going. If you're new to waking up early, start with just 5 minutes of stretching. As your body adapts, you can gradually increase the duration and intensity. Eventually, this habit can evolve into a full morning workout if you want it to. The key is not perfection, but consistency. Even on days when motivation is low, I do something. It's a physical reminder that no matter how the rest of the day goes, I've already invested in my health before sunrise. 3. Write down 3 goals for the day. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make was starting my day without a plan. I'd just react to emails, messages, and whatever problems came up. By 5 p.m., I was exhausted but felt like I'd accomplished nothing important. Now at 5 a.m., before the noise of the world creeps in, I sit down with a notebook and write my 3 most important goals for the day. These aren't random to-do list items like reply to John's email. They're high-impact tasks that, if done, would make me feel the day was a success. Why 3? Because it's manageable. Too many goals can be overwhelming, but 3 forces you to prioritize. I ask myself, if I could only do 3 things today, which would make the biggest difference? I write them in clear, actionable terms. Instead of work on project, I'll write finished draft of project proposal. That way, there's no confusion about what done looks like. By setting these goals at 5 a.m., I give myself a clear direction for the rest of the day. When distractions try to pull me off track, I can look back at the list and refocus. This habit has made me far more productive. Not because I do more, but because I focus on what matters most. And over time, the compound effect of doing 3 important things every day has been huge. 4. Read 10 pages of a book. In a world of constant notifications and quick-hit content, reading a physical book in the quiet of the morning feels like a superpower. At 5 a.m., my mind is fresh, my phone is still on silent, and there's nothing competing for my attention. I commit to reading at least 10 pages every morning. Sometimes it's personal development, sometimes it's biography, sometimes it's something that challenges my thinking. The key is that it's intentional reading, not mindless scrolling or skimming articles. 10 pages might not sound like much, but over a year, that's 3,650 pages, about 12 to 15 books. And because I'm reading consistently, I actually retain and apply more of what I learn. I keep a pen nearby to underline key passages and jot quick notes in the margins. This turns reading from a passive activity into an active one. And often, what I read in the morning shapes how I approach the rest of my day. The goal isn't speed, it's understanding. Some mornings I'll pause after just a few paragraphs. Because an idea hits me so hard, I have to write about it. That's the beauty of reading. When your mind is most open, ideas connect faster. This habit has expanded my knowledge, improved my communication skills, and given me countless new perspectives. It's also a form of mental training. By practicing focus in the morning, I'm better able to concentrate later in the day. 5. Meditate for 5 minutes. When I first heard about meditation, I thought it was just sitting still, doing nothing, something for monks or people with too much free time. But after years of feeling constantly switched on and stressed, I decided to give it a real try. At 5 a.m., the world is silent. My phone is still on airplane mode, and it's the perfect time to reset my mind before the day begins. My practice is simple. I sit comfortably, close my eyes, and focus on my breath. I inhale slowly through my nose, hold for a second, and exhale gently through my mouth. Inevitably, my mind wanders to my to-do list, to something that happened yesterday, or to random thoughts. When that happens, I just notice it and gently bring my focus back to the breath. That's the essence of meditation, not stopping thoughts, but noticing them without getting carried away. Some mornings I use a guided meditation app, especially when I feel scattered. Other days, I sit in complete silence and just breathe. I've also experimented with gratitude-focused meditations, where I think of people, moments, or even challenges I'm thankful for. The benefits have been huge. I react less impulsively when problems arise. I think more clearly under pressure, and I'm more present in conversations. Meditation has taught me that productivity isn't about doing more. It's about being intentional with my energy. Just 5 minutes of stillness at 5 a.m. can save me hours of wasted distracted effort later in the day. If you've never meditated, start small. Even 2 minutes is better than nothing. Over time, it becomes a mental warm-up that sharpens your mind for whatever comes next. 6. Plan the day on one page. One of the best productivity upgrades I've made is planning my entire day on a single sheet of paper. I used to keep endless to-do lists, messy, scattered, and filled with low-value tasks. At 5 a.m., when my mind is fresh, I now create a clean, one-page plan that guides my entire day. The page is divided into 3 sections. At the top are my 3 main goals for the day, from Habit 3. These are the big wins, the things that will make the day feel successful, even if nothing else gets done. In the middle section, I write secondary tasks, smaller jobs that need attention but aren't mission critical. At the bottom, I list fixed appointments, calls, or meetings, so I can see exactly where my time is blocked. The one-page limit is intentional. It forces me to be realistic and prevents me from overcommitting. It also helps me visually balance my day. If my main goals require deep work, I keep secondary tasks light. If I have a packed meeting schedule, I adjust expectations accordingly. Throughout the day, I keep this page in front of me, either on my desk or in my notebook. Every time I complete a task, I cross it off. That small act of checking a box gives me a mental boost, like a mini victory. By creating this plan before the chaos starts, I control my day instead of reacting to it. It's not about perfection. Sometimes things change, but even then, I adjust from a place of clarity, not panic. One page, one clear direction, and far less mental clutter. 7. Write 3 things I'm grateful for. Gratitude used to sound soft to me, like something nice in theory, but not really impactful in business or productivity. I was wrong. Starting my day with 3 simple statements of gratitude has completely shifted my mindset. At 5 a.m., I open my journal and write down 3 things I'm grateful for. They don't have to be profound. Some days it's my health, my family, or a warm bed. Other days it's something tiny, like the smell of fresh coffee or the quiet before sunrise. The point is to intentionally notice the good things that are already present in my life. This habit does 2 things. First, it puts me in a positive emotional state before the demands of the day hit. When I focus on what's going right, I'm less stressed about what's going wrong. Second, it builds resilience. On tough days, looking back at past entries reminds me that challenges are temporary and that there's always something to be thankful for. There's science behind this too. Studies show that gratitude practices can improve mood, lower stress hormones, and even boost physical health. But for me, the biggest change is how it influences my perspective. Opportunities stand out more. Small annoyances bother me less. It only takes a few minutes, but the mental return is huge. I see it as training my brain not to ignore problems, but to balance them with awareness of the good. That balance keeps me motivated, focused, and more enjoyable to be around. Gratitude, I've learned, is a competitive advantage in life and business. 8. No social media until 8 a.m. This habit might be the single biggest game changer for my focus. I used to check my phone the second I woke up, scrolling through Instagram, checking notifications, reading news headlines. By the time I'd finished, my mind was already overloaded. My mood was being shaped by strangers, and I hadn't done a single thing for myself now. I have a hard rule. No social media until 8 a.m. That means the first 3 hours of my day belong entirely to me and my priorities. During that time, I'm creating, learning, exercising, and setting my direction, not reacting to whatever the algorithm throws at me. The difference is night and day. Without social media, first thing, my mind feels calmer and sharper. I'm able to get deep work done in the morning without the constant itch to just check my phone. I also notice that when I do eventually log in, I'm more intentional about it. I go in with a purpose instead of aimlessly scrolling. To make this easier, I keep my phone in another room while I sleep and use a traditional alarm clock to wake up. I also turn off non-essential notifications completely. The less temptation, the better. This habit isn't about hating social media. It's about controlling it instead of letting it control me. By delaying that first hit of dopamine, I give my brain a chance to operate at its highest level before outside noise takes over. If you try this for just 1 week, you'll be amazed at how much more you get done and how much lighter your mind feels. 9. Eat a healthy breakfast. Your first meal sets the tone for your energy, focus, and mood for the rest of the day. I used to skip breakfast entirely or grab something quick and sugary pastries, cereal, or whatever was convenient. The result? A short burst of energy followed by a mid-morning crash that left me sluggish and unfocused. Now, I make a point to eat a balanced, nutrient-rich breakfast every morning. For me, that means high-quality protein like eggs or Greek yogurt, healthy fats, avocado, nuts, olive oil, and complex carbs, oats, whole grain toast, or fruit. This combination keeps my blood sugar stable, fuels my brain, and sustains my energy until lunch. I prepare ingredients the night before to make mornings easier. Sometimes I'll cook a batch of boiled eggs or overnight oats so there's no excuse to skip. The key is removing friction. The less effort it takes, the more likely I am to stick to the habit. Since making this change, I've noticed a significant improvement in my focus during morning work sessions. I'm also less likely to reach for junk food later in the day, because my body starts off well-fed and satisfied. A healthy breakfast isn't just about physical energy. It's also a signal to myself that I value my body and my performance. I'm fueling for the day ahead, not just eating to fill a gap. If you currently skip breakfast or rely on processed snacks, try upgrading to a whole food meal for a week. You might be surprised by how much more stable and productive your mornings feel. 10. Learn a new skill for 20 minutes. The quiet of 5 a.m. is the perfect time for personal growth. With no distractions and a fresh mind, I dedicate at least 20 minutes each morning to learning something new. It could be studying a language, practicing a craft, improving a business skill, or exploring a new subject entirely. This small daily investment adds up quickly. 20 minutes a day is over 120 hours a year, enough to make real progress in almost anything. I've used this time to read about marketing, practice writing, and even pick up basic coding skills. The key is consistency. I set a clear focus for each learning period, so I'm not just browsing randomly. Sometimes I follow an online course, other times I work through a book or structured exercises. By tracking my progress, I can see how far I've come, which keeps me motivated to continue. The benefits go beyond the skill itself. Learning early in the day sharpens my thinking, boosts creativity, and gives me a sense of accomplishment before most people have even started work. It also reinforces the mindset that I'm always improving, a mindset that carries into every other part of my life. If you've ever said, "I wish I had time to learn X," this is how you make the time. Trade 20 minutes of scrolling or watching TV for 20 minutes of growth. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve in a year. Final word, when I started waking up at 5 a.m., it wasn't easy. In fact, the first few weeks felt like a battle. But over time, these 10 habits transformed my mornings. From a groggy blur into a powerful launchpad for the day ahead. What's important to understand is that it's not about doing all 10 perfectly every single morning. Life happens. Some days you'll hit all of them. Other days maybe only a few. The magic isn't in perfection. It's in showing up consistently and building a routine that works for you. These habits work because they cover every part of your well-being: physical hydration, exercise, healthy breakfast, mental meditation, reading, learning, emotional gratitude, focus, control, and strategic planning, setting goals. Together, they create a balanced foundation for high performance. You don't need to start with all of them. Pick one or two that resonate most, and stick with them for a few weeks. Once they feel natural, add another. That's how habits compound. Slowly, but powerfully. The difference you'll notice isn't just in productivity. You'll feel more in control of your time, less reactive to stress, and more intentional about how you live. Morning will stop being something you get through and start being something you look forward to. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings at 5 a.m., remember, you're not just waking up early, you're stepping into a window of time that most people never use. Guard it, use it, and watch how it changes everything. Remember, the world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. Keep showing up as you.